Thank you very much, Shocks. As always, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for Ninjas in Pyjamas to face Alternate.
Both of these teams are sitting on 13 wins and 13 losses, and Alternate currently hold the head-to-head lead of 2 wins and 1 loss. So obviously for this match, it's extremely important, and I cannot stress how much both of these teams want to win. But for NIP in particular, they'd be looking for the victory here, as a tie in the head-to-head would give them at least one more rematch if there is a tiebreaker for 6th place.
So whoever wins will be joint 3rd. Whoever loses will be joint 6th. It's that close, ladies and gentlemen, that close. Let's check out the teams, though, because first off, it will be Ninjas in Pyjamas on that blue side. Mima is the top laner, Maluno in the jungle, Bjergsen in that mid lane, and Freeze and Deficio, who you just heard, I just want to make it to Gamescom.
Yeah, it doesn't matter for 2nd or 6th for that, man. Over on the other side, for Alternate, it will, of course, be Kerp up in the top lane, Aranea in the jungle, Lord in the mid lane, as well as Creatine and J-Ri as your AD carry and support.
Well, today, everything is on the line for the teams, and Alternate and SK Gaming, that's a heck of a motivator.
I can't say we'll beat Alternate for sure, but I think they're really predictable in their picks.
I pretty much know that if we beat NiP, then our matchup against them is positive, so there's no point NiP can go, and we are already on the Gamescom.
It's very important for me as a team captain to motivate everyone on the team and make sure that everyone knows that if we win this game, we pretty much go to Gamescom.
NIP aren't performing that well at the moment. I'm pretty comfortable to beat them.
So we know what they want to play. Now the question is, can we actually play against it?
That is the actual classic. It's like, you know how someone's going to play. You know how a team will play. You know what they're going to do. Can you counter it? That's the question, and we'll see. You guys at home, though, have been voting for who you think is going to win this one, and let's see how it's going to turn out.
59% of the people are in favor of Alternate, and I want to highlight one thing that Lord said, is he said NIP aren't playing that well. And even though Alternate is 0-3, NIP are 1-2, I would agree with that based on how the teams have performed, because Alternate, they haven't been smashed.
No, exactly. They've had put in some fantastic performances. Unfortunately for them, though, they are 0-3. Get over to lollysports.com, guys. You can vote for how you think the rest of the day will progress, how you think the playoffs may even happen. Don't forget, you can check out the road to the World Finals as well. Lots of regional finals will start taking place over the next few weeks, so you won't want to miss those. Ninjas in Pyjamas, they are going to be taking on Alternate right now, though, and both of these teams, a win could be a massive confidence boost. Going into the final games of the weekend, Alternate, they are 0-3. Ninjas in Pyjamas, they're currently only 1-2 as well.
Yeah, both of these teams are having a poor start, to say the least, to Super Week, and there's quite literally no more time to take control of these teams' destinies to earn their spots in the playoffs, and you heard the players talking about it themselves. I would still consider Alternate a confidence team, if you think about them throughout the split, and losing 3 games back-to-back has got to be hard to deal with, and for a team like Alternate with Aranea, to be able to analyze the games a little closer. Hopefully they can see that they've actually been putting up some really good fights. And today's games are going to be especially difficult for Alternate because they held the #1 spot for 6 of the 9 weeks. And that's going to add all of that additional pressure to them when they're sitting, basically fighting for their lives.
I wonder if Aranea is going for the old Gambit method of using the belt to pressure the team there as he took it off from around his waist. Ninjas in Pyjamas, though, you can see the focus on their face. They have managed to pick up a win so far, and it was against Fnatic. That was yesterday, and they are sitting on a 1-2 record for the weekend. If we look at the head-to-head records, though, Ninjas in Pyjamas has the chance to tie SK Gaming and Alternate today. They are 3-1 ahead of Evil Geniuses for all those important tiebreakers.
Yeah, there's so many numbers to remember, and we will be keeping tabs of it once this game's wrapped up. But in general, NIP haven't exactly shown up this weekend. Lemon Dogs completely controlled them. Evil Geniuses just pushed towers super hard, super early, and prevented NIP from getting to anywhere, really, any sort of power position. And during the games that we have seen, I really want to highlight the fact that Mima has been struggling this weekend, especially obviously against Wicked and Darien in 2 of those losses. In order to help his team pick up these important wins, Mima's going to need to shake off those losses and ideally not lose out in CS as hard to make his mid-game impact a little bit stronger. It's the one thing that he's been sorely lacking in all of their losses.
Yeah, I hope he'll leave his eyeball as well. I thought he was going to dig deep there, the way he was starting to gauge. Clearly the pressure is on them, but the picks and bans are underway. So Ezreal being banned out, taking that away from Creaton. It was his favorite champion. This one he's got a crazy KDA on. Zac, though, being taken away from Ninjas in Pyjamas. That surprises me. Not too sure on that one. Lee Sin taken off from Aranea. Fizz also banned out. Bjergsen, we saw him running that one yesterday to great success. That was the game they actually won one, actually, I believe. Lissandra, well, Kerp or Unload, take your pick, because they've both been running that one. Shen, the final ban. So these teams done their homework, prepared for this one. They know what they want to ban. What are they going to pick?
Elise is still open, and the Shen ban I really like, because not only did NIP only pick up their victory while Mima was playing Shen, they don't want to pick that around the composition. Now, the last time we've seen a Zed being played by Bjergsen, it was in combination with Mima Shen, and they ran rings around Nietzsche Makers, 8 I think it was. And I like that play. When we seen Bjergsen playing Karthus yesterday, it was very lackluster. He's a playmaker. He's going to be in your mace. He's going to have a mechanical champion. Zed is definitely one of them.
You see Aranea called himself the father of the team. He cooks, does the laundry, does everything. Seems to be the team captain, definitely the mouthpiece, that's for damn sure.
Joe brought a bag of laundry in today and dropped it off, asked him to sort it out. I wonder if he's going to play Vi. And the reason I highlight that, I'm not particularly impressed with his Vi. Partially because the team comps that they built around it haven't exactly worked. I also felt like his targeting on his ultimate was a little bit questionable at times. So I prefer to see a slightly different champion. I think a Hecarim would do a similar job, arguably better.
Well, I could have put money on Maluno locking in Jarvan straight away. We do see the fact that Varus and Fiddlesticks have been locked in. Fiddlesticks actually taken a number of bans over the last few days, but Jerry going to be happy with that one. It's actually a pretty good counter to Zed as well.
It is a very good counter to Zed. It's also a very good counter to the likes of a Vayne pick. Because that fear from the Terrify is just so strong, you can just throw that on, lock Vayne up for a couple seconds, and then immediately focus her down. So I like that pick. It's also going to dissuade Freeze from maybe going that route. With Zyra being locked in, I wonder if they're going to maybe even go for a Zyra Ashe combo, which has been sort of all the craze in the last couple of weeks, both NA and in Europe.
Well, you talked about the Vi. It has been locked in.
I'm a little concerned, but on the same token, what I'm currently seeing from NIP, it can work. Zed, if you can lock him down, you've got the Fear, you've got Assault and Battery, it's a single target. That's good. I want to see what other carries NIP have to offer, because if there's a bit more AoE thrown into this mix, Vi a little less effective against obviously multiple targets.
Can he dodge Assault and Battery with Living Shadow?
There's nothing you can do. Once Assault Battery locks on, you're getting chased down.
You sure?
100%.
He can get away from the Requiem.
100% certain about that one. If he's going to time it...
I want to see Vi going, chasing him around, then Living Shadows.
There may be a possibility of like a reroute and then slamming into the ground after, but I'm pretty sure he'll chase until the ability lands.
Yeah, we've just given a couple more YouTube drunken videos there
I'm
as well.
fairly certain somebody's tested this myth and is basically yelling, saying it's so obvious. But yeah, we'll find that out shortly.
Okay, so Yorick being picked again for Mima. That means it will, of course, be Bjergsen on the Zed, and it's going to be the Caitlyn-Zyra combo this time around. What will be the final pick here? It will be for the top lane, and it's going to be against the Yorick.
So against the Yorick, Wicked ran Aatrox, and he did very well. He died once in lane and actually managed to out-CS Mima's Yorick. The one thing that I do like about the Yorick pick is it's quite a nice counter to the likes of that Assault and Battery. In a team fight, you throw that down on your Zed or your Caitlyn. If they do get taken down due to the heavy focus, they just have that extra leash on life. So I think it's a good pickup, but it's a very unique/awkward composition for NIP, because you generally have hyper carries paired with those Yoriks.
And what do we make of Kerp's Karma? He's run it. This is the third time, I believe, now that he's actually used it this over the last few weeks. He used it, I think it was over week 8, week 7, somewhere around there, just after Diamond had used it. And he believes it's strong. How do we feel?
The utility that it brings to the table is absolutely brilliant. And when you've got utility from Karma, you've got utility from Orianna, the chasing potential is terrifying. You've both got 2 AoE team-based speed-ups before you've even built in a Shurelya's Reverie. So chasing, peeling, running away, it's a very good combo. Both of these teams have got slightly different forms of damage where they're going to be coming out. And I think there's a lot of pressure on both teams' AD carries in this particular matchup.
Well, there is Ninjas in Pyjamas. We've talked about the pressure that was on Fnatic. Let's talk about the pressure that's on Alternate and NIP, because these guys are tied 13-13. Someone will be leaving this game in around about an hour's time. I'm going to be generous. Give them a lot of time. Someone was going to be 14-13, tied for third place alongside Evil Geniuses and Fnatic. Someone is going to be 13-14, tied with SK Gaming. It is that close, ladies and gentlemen. There's only 5 more games remaining. 2 more games remaining for both Alternate and NIP. The destiny is very much in their own hands.
We'll have to see how this early game goes, because I do feel like both of these teams have got very snowball-heavy compositions, and if they can get a little bit of an advantage, they have the ability to extend that very, very far. A lot of pressure is obviously going to be on Deficio in this game as well. He was quite vocal about his Nami play over the course of the weekend, and he was saying that basically he felt he had his worst Nami game ever. He switched over to Zyra for this game, and against a very mobile team with a Karma, with an Orianna, with a Fiddlesticks, who wants to be jumping at you and cacawing all day long, those Stranglethorns and Grasping Roots could win team fights single-handedly.
Why, new, why? That's all I'm hearing when I hear cacaw. It's the famous hotshot GG, which is no longer a player in the LCS, it's sad to see. But COG TSM, we can talk about it. I feel 24 hours is not quite enough. I want to get closer. North American LCS, we're going to talk about that later, ladies and gentlemen, because I want to see if this is going to actually break into a fight. Alternate looking to go deep here. They want to get aggressive. They're throwing out everything in towards that bush, but unfortunately for them, NIP are not there, and they are going for the counter.
So what we did see there was a nice play from Kerp. He popped that Mantra charge from his ultimate onto the Q, the Inner Flame, and it gets the AoE slowdown. So if anybody had been in a defensive position, they would have been caught out, and it would have allowed them to get some more CC on them and possibly kill them. NIP, very, very defensive, but thanks to seeing all of Alternate invading, they've actually got more deep wards than what Alternate currently have.
Yeah, indeed. They just went aggressive on that one. All they did is put a singular ward down. I'm sure they know that the fact there is one in that bush, one at the red buff. And looks like the rest of Alternate are moving around there, but they have a fairly decent vision of them. And Ninjas in Pyjamas are going to stick defensive. So we're not going to see anything opening up here. Let's have a look at what the lanes are going to work out with. We are going to see Kraton and Jerry. They are heading towards the bottom lane, which means Kerp will be in that top. We should mention actually that Kerp picked up teleport as well towards the end there, so he's got teleport flash.
So in terms of the teleport ganks, Yorick versus Karma is going to be a farm fest at the best of times. Because of the fact that Yorick's going to have pretty good sustain thanks to his Omen of Famine, he's going to be able to just heal back up with that E. Karma has got pretty good poke in the early game, but I do feel like it'll be countered as long as Mima manages his mana correctly. And Mima's not going to be able to chase Kerp. Kerp's just going to be able to root him in place and hold him there. So the teleport signals, I'm going to play passive in lane, farm up, and help win other lanes. And that's very important because it's the other lanes that'll have to carry the game for Alternate. That's where the damage comes from.
We'll see how it works out. Freeze and Deficio, you see them back in towards this bottom lane, and immediately piercing arrow on towards Freeze. Freeze actually messed up his attack on that ward as well, I noticed. He cancelled the attack motion by moving just a little bit too soon.
Doesn't manage to get that extra hit on it, but not going to affect him too badly just yet. Right now, Freeze and Deficio in this lane. The first couple of levels, Freeze has a very strong advantage against Creatine and Jerry thanks to the range that he's got. And now with the small misplay already, could that be nerves?
Definitely could be nerves. We also saw Jerry actually stealing away a CS with that Dark Wind bouncing around. It's like, sorry, I totally didn't mean that.
You can't really control it in a perfect situation.
Where it's going to bounce. It's going to be the nearest minion there, and it's like, oh look, I might just get a CS if I bounce. Oh, that's unlucky.
Just playing devil's advocate at the moment, throwing out those silences, and it's a bit of a pain to deal with. But at the moment, Freeze and Deficio using that extended range of Caitlyn and Zyra to outrange both Varus and Fiddlesticks, and doing some very good combos. That was a very, very nice, cheeky 90 caliber net into the Peacemaker. If you fire them at the same time, it'll extend from your point of origin.
Yeah, indeed it will. But look at the pressure in the top. Mima actually being forced back a little bit by Kerp here, and actually doing a grand job. But in terms of CS, still very close.
Yeah, Mima's just going to... he's waiting for a couple of levels to get that Omen of Famine leveled up. He hasn't even put a single point into his Omen of War, the Q, because he needs sustain to deal with Kerp's, long-range harass and long-range poke. But as we said, there's no real kill potential there. The mid lane, as we're getting closer and closer towards 6, that's the one where I think things could get very explosive very, very quickly.
Well, speaking of kill potential, Aranea was trying to find a kill in that bottom lane, but unfortunately he dashed straight through on towards one of Deficio's plants, which gave him full vision of that one. Maluno He's heading towards the mid lane. He wants to look at getting aggressive on Lord. Bjergsen's pouring a bit of poke down on towards him. And he's playing this one very cautiously. Started out with the Doran's Ring, though. He knew he was going to be up against AZ in that mid lane. Didn't go for the cloth armor.
So very, very conscientious play. He realized that he could take advantage of his range on the ball and allow the ball control to play as a buffer between himself and Bjergsen Zed. In addition, we've seen Bjergsen Zed so often, we know what to expect. Right now, can Maluno get a knock-up? That is the real question, because Creatine, that's 210 HP. He's in trouble.
He's in trouble. The Dragon Strike comes out. Not quite enough damage on Creatine, though. One little poke, but it's a flash burn.
And a very good fear from J-Ree. He managed to avoid Maluno getting that auto attack. I think if Maluno had got the auto attack down, plus the passive HP damage, it may have actually been enough to kill Creatine there.
Indeed. Let's see how it works out for them. Meanwhile, in this mid lane, we've seen some pretty impressive play from Bjergsen Zed over the last few weeks. And unfortunately for him, he's having to start to carry the NOP once again. Well, I mean, he is the carry mid, so it's kind of his job anyway. But for Renlord, how many times have we seen some great shockwaves from him? However, I would say the last few weeks, he's been underperforming.
I would call him out more specifically for the last 2 games, because what we've seen from Frenelord's Orion this weekend in particular has not been what we used to. There was that highlight reel on Twitch yesterday, I think it may have been against EG actually, where he popped the shockwave and only got a Banshee's Veil, misreading the command attack and hoping it was going to get the Banshee's Veil spell shield broken, and it didn't work out. However, against NIP, it is going to be a little bit easier to read the NIP composition, so it should be a little easier to land those abilities.
We do see Aronair taking a peek towards this mid lane, significant lock-in, but Bjergsen's going to be so hard to pin down. They're going to have to land this one perfectly. You can look at Frenlord's hit points. You can tell that Bjergsen's already had his wicked way with Frenlord a touch there, and Aronair is simply going to have to come in and defend.
Yeah, so the Deathmark was used as well as the Ignite, so Bjergsen's looking to set something up, and it's something we've actually seen Bjergsen doing fairly often, just to get lane dominance, just to make Frenlord play defensively, force him to miss, force him to miss a couple CS, and make him panic about his positioning.
Maluna's coming in towards his top lane. Kerp actually being quite aggressive. Flash was forced again. That's the second flash that Maluna was forced out of alternate.
He's about to hit level 6 as well, so with Cataclysm up and no flash in the top or bottom lanes, Maluna will just rinse and repeat these ganks to try and secure first blood for his team.
We'll see if it works out. Mima, though, with no mana, he's going to have to head back soon, which is why Kerp, who has just been back, seems to have that advantage right now. Got the double Doran's Ring and the Crystalline Flask, along with that health pot and the Biscuit, which he picked up very early, or in fact, from his Masteries. From the Masteries, I do want to point out that Mima, this is the first time in the 3 games we've seen him play that he's staying even, almost, on CS with his opponents. By about 7 minutes in against Wicked, he was 25 odd creeps behind. So definitely feeling a little bit more comfortable on the likes of Yorick than he was earlier in the weekend. For me, Yorick's an interesting pick with this team combo. I mean, yes, there's a Zed in there, or a Caitlyn. That's really all you're going to use it for. The reasoning for the Yorick to get that Omen of Death down is because of the lack of heavy burst damage from the rest of the team. Jerry's caught. The Ignite's going to be ticking, but it's not going to be enough. The health pot should survive him. And there was no backup support from Maluna, so he didn't come in there, but that's another flash burn. And Freeze and Deficio are solidly winning out this lane. There's a 20 CS advantage that they've already built up. Both flashes down, and Maluna now has Cataclysm. So if Creatine and J-Ree overstep past the river, that may be the lane where First Blood is secured. They may try and bait this one, but Aronair is waiting in the winds. Assault and Battery is now available, but there's a ward in that river. Blue buff comes up, and Renlord's like, you will come here and give me this. And the thing that I wanted to highlight about that Omen of Death, even though there's no hyper carry, once the shockwave is down, it takes quite a while for Karma and for Vi and for Varus to actually pick up kills, whereas Zed has got a lot more insta-kill potential in addition to a full build Caitlyn, can really deal a lot of damage. So I think the idea is that once that burst is down, they can just out-DPS him with like a 6v5 fight. Oh, and the aggression continuing. The shockwave pulls out. Assault and Battery followed. Not really stacked up very well. The Deathmark's going to turn around. He's going to pop. That's going to be first blood. It will be countered. Aronair should be able to finish this one off. Living Shadow is going to be available in move. Not quite in time. Aronair gets the kill. Yeah, excessive force used there just to secure the kill. It ends up turning it around. Bjergsen did very, very well. And the second he got slammed into the ground, popped down that Deathmark to jump onto Frenlord. So great timing from Bjergsen. So both mid laners killed. The assist, though, more importantly, going across to Aranea. So technically, Alternate come out on top there because they got the kill and assist. It means that there is pressure actually back on towards them in the middle. But look at this bottom lane. It is being very aggressive. Top lane Mimer's been a little bit bullied. It's now a triple Doran's ring for Kerp.
So we've been seeing more of these triple Doran's blades over the course of the weekend, and it gives you a nice power spike, and it allows you to take a little bit of control in the lane a tad earlier, but it obviously slows down the next transition build when you see Mimer's only got a single Doran's item. So he'll be working towards that mana immune and some defensive armor-based stats very soon.
Well, Maluna stood on top of a ward there, gets a command attack and dissonance on his head, which forces him away from this one. So, well, he's also got Fronlord having to build up towards that Zhonya's Hourglass very early on, or at least get the Seeker's Arm Guards. It's the one I'm thinking of, holding my arm. I'm trying to think what's the name of this thing. Seeker's Arm Guards. But look at this. We have Zed heading north.
So there's very clear focus from Frenelord to get defensive statistics, and he doesn't have any form of teleport to join up here in the top lane. Deathmark is available for Bjergsen, so we'll see if he thinks he can take out Kerp. Remember, Kerp's got a little bit of extra HP thanks to those Dawn rings, and here he goes.
He's trying to run away from this one. Bjergsen's going to go aggressive. Is it going to be enough, though? Deathmark popped. That's going to catch on towards him. Not going to be anywhere near close enough, though. Does put a good burst of damage down on him, but he buys time, and actually, it's a lane swap coming in here. Mimer's heading down the river. The two members of Alternate, Aranea and Frenelord, doing good work on this tower. They're going to take it down.
Oh, the tower's still up.
Is it going to be enough? Oh, the Cataclysm comes out. Frenelord has got Shockwave, uses it on towards Maluna. He's going to get dropped. The teleport coming out here. Will it be enough? Frenelord's going to escape. The Ignite will take him down. Defensive ball. Is it enough to save him? No, not quite. Mimer now getting locked up, but Aranea is going to try and get away from this one. Dashes out there. Bjergsen gives chase. Hasn't got his ultimate available. Can't capitalize. That was a 1 for 0, but more importantly, the mid turret went down when Bjergsen went walking.
Very good counterplay from NIP, but they managed to get the teleport. It's not over yet, as Deficio and Freeze are sitting on this bottom lane tower, and here comes Kerp and J-Ree with Crowstorm.
Catching on towards Deficio, the slow goes down, Flash already coming out. That's a great grasping root. Kerp in all sorts of trouble. Stranglethorn bounces him up there. Freeze will finish him off, but now he's in trouble. The party time, J-Ree not quite catching on towards him. Freeze does get exhausted down, and Kraton picks up that kill. It's another 1-for-1 trade.
They traded 1-for-1, and they didn't take the tower down. So Alternate once again playing, moving around the map, roaming, and that utility jungler of or top laner of Kerp, like we talked about, he is being used to pick up kills in other lanes because he cannot kill Mimer. Thanks to the kill onto Freeze, now Alternate have a numbers advantage as they start Dragon.
The game opening up a little here, and see if this Dragon does get picked up. We see in the mid lane, Frenelord and Bjergsen both heading down to this one, coming up from the top. The bottom, sorry, is Maluna and Deficio. It will be picked up by Aranea, but Aranea in trouble. Defensive ball used, he tries to dash away from this one. And that's a great catch from Maluna on towards Aranea. The Ignite running, I'm not too sure they've got the damage to close this one out. Deathmark on towards Frenelord, he's going to pop, uses the shield. Great turnaround there from Alternate. It is going to be another kill picked up by Kraton.
Once again, trading 1-on-1, but Alternate getting the global objective, therefore coming out ahead with a 300 gold advantage. And the thing that we're seeing in both of the ganks, if you cast your mind back 3 minutes, when Bjergsen picked the fight with Kerp rooted him in place and prevented Bjergsen from dealing damage, and his death mark was a meh mark at best. And there in the second time, being thrown onto Frenelord, and the fear comes out of J-Ree, and that put him in trouble. Mimer and Kerp trading, but there's no kills here.
So far, the versatility of Kerp, it seems to be working well on Karma. And Mimer, well, getting down there and trying to help out hasn't really impacted as much, despite the fact he picked up a kill. Let's not knock that. 4-3 currently to Ninjas in Pyjamas. They have the kill advantage, but they do not have the turret advantage. And look at this, once again, Aranea waiting in the wings, can't go towards that bottom turret. There is a trap in the bottom bushes, so he might step on.
There is one thing I really have to highlight because of the fact that Kraton has had both of the kills out of Alternate's 3. He is currently 45, call that 50 CS behind that of Freeze because it's just how strong Deficio and Freeze were in those early levels. They forced J-Ree and Kraton back, and because Fiddlestick's Fear takes so many levels to become effective, it meant the early game is completely in favor of Freeze and Deficio. The thing is, the kills have kept the gold even thanks to Kraton securing them. As you can see, Aranea looking for a gank.
He is taking a walk in towards the bushes. There's a trap just at the end there. Chafili's going to step on any moment now. He's dancing around. J-Ree shows himself. He's in Pyjamas. They're pinging and they're saying, pretty sure there's someone here. Tribush has Maluno in it now. So it's actually a 3 for 3 in the bottom lane. Teleport not available for Kerp. He's not going to join in. Aranea gone. Oh, J-Ree's staying. He's going to be on his own. Doesn't matter. Moluna's backed off for red.
Yeah, at this point in time, Alternate were too far down the lane, and it's actually kind of good that Deficio's grasping roots had missed Creatin or J-Ree, because if those roots had landed, Freeze and Deficio may have picked a fight that could have backfired. So at the end of the day, a missed skill shot there actually may have saved their lives. We have returned back to these standardized lanes, with Alternate having 1 tower advantage and a single dragon advantage as well. However, thanks to that immense amount of farm sitting on the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas, gold is basically as even as it's going to be.
Yes, the pressure situation continues. Just 100 between these two teams in terms of gold, despite that tower going down early on. And actually, with that tower going down in the mid, you'd think it opened the game up a little. But the fact is, Fernando doesn't really want to leave that lane at the moment. Instead, Assault and Battery catches on towards Pyjamas. He gets annihilated in the top. That passive not going to do a great deal. Now we see Cataclysm onto J-Ree, forces another flash.
Cooldown for cooldown, that is a fair trade, that is for sure. And thanks to the poke that Kerp was putting down, they melted Mima. He's built up no armor, no HP, no magic resistance, and he's basically just as squishy as some of the AD carries right now. A very good gank by Alternate to secure their 4th kill of the game, potentially the 2nd tower.
But this bottom turret, that's in trouble now. Kraton desperately trying to hold him off. Grasping Root actually catching on towards him. Stranglethorn's caught down, bounces him high. Freeze puts the pilt over across. Barrier used. Is it going to be enough? Moluna tries to catch on. One more shot. No. Gets in towards the bushes, and an ace in the hole did not land. J-Ree throws out the party. Kerp comes in, tries to get the flash on there. Gets back to the turret, but the turret is gone already. Moluna is going to have his wicked way of him. Bjergsen is going to chase him down. Flashes away from this. Has he got the versatility to try and escape this one? Slows everyone down. Coming in the backside is Ferelnord. Is he going to buy him time? Gets his own heal off once again. And another heal. Gets in the bush. Tries to speed up. Gets the slowdown on Bjergsen. And finally, they get the kill on Kerp.
Brilliant play from NIP. They pick up 2 kills and a tower. Now, J-Ree actually saved Creatin's life by fearing off Freeze, so he never got to channel and fire the ace in the hole. Unfortunately for Kerp, he didn't look at the HP of the tower, and he got dropped. Ferelnord's in trouble.
Deathmark on Ferelnord. It's going to pop him. He's going to be squishy. There he goes. It's another kill for Bjergsen. He's 4-2-0 right now.
Now, if Bjergsen can continue to do that, finding kills while targets are alone, it's going to play into their favor. And the benefit that NIP has as a composition here, NIP can stay as a 4-man unit and let Bjergsen split push alone as Zed. They can clone off Jarvan, Yorick, or even Caitlyn in a team fight and have a 4.5 versus 5 if Alternate remain grouped up when Bjergsen's split pushing.
And simply, that kill comes around from the perfect ward coverage they had. They've got one at blue, they've got one at Tribush, and they've got one at Banana. They had full coverage of that bottom area of the map, and it was simply a case of, well, Ferelnord's all on his own now. This is going to be a nice, free, and easy kill. Look at this, though. Arena's coming around. Deficio and Moluna are there, actually out of position. Go dashes through towards the Dragon Pit instead.
So you managed just to get out cleanly. They've got now a little bit of awareness of when that red buff is going to be started, and maybe Alternate going to decide to challenge. Alternatively, that could have been Vision being put down in preparation for the next Dragon. Cataclysm is up, and Moluna gets instantly feared to the side, and here comes Aranea.
Oh, they're going to actually leash on towards Moluna, and they're not going to follow it through because it's a straight 4-on-4, and ironically, neither mid laner is available, but look at this top lane. Bjergsen off on his own split push, and he will do some serious damage to turrets with that Blade of the Rune King and Brutalizer. That's the ace in the hole. It gets blocked out by J-Ree, not finding its target, but that's going to be a turret down. It's the second one of the game for NIP.
I've just understood what NIP's composition and game plan is going to be. They're going to leave Bjergsen alone, and they're using Yorick and his ultimate to make sure that those pseudo 4v4s and 4v5s are a little bit easier to deal with. Bjergsen is going to try to do to Alternate what Fnatic did to MYM. Play the map, get the towers, get the objectives.
Getting the numbers as well, and actually he's sticking around in the top lane, stayed in the bush. Kerp came down, thought he got rid of free time, and gets back on towards that inner turret. Bottom turret's going to go down. Ferelnord trying to do a similar thing. Hasn't really got the tower push ability. Moluna being taken very low here by Aranea. He's going to have to give up chase, as you can see the rest of NIP reacting to him.
At this point in time, there's nobody that can really deal with the burst that's coming out of Bjergsen. So Alternate have to try and find some way to control the split push or to force objectives. A 4-man NIP are looking at... There goes Crowstorm.
Crowstorm comes out, simply forces NIP back. Is it going to be enough. The rest of the top team, Bjergsen actually closing down. J-Ree, where are you going? He's dead. Chain of Corruption comes out. No, he's not. Defensive ball. Stranglethorn's not going to catch on towards him. A fantastic Chain of Corruption. Kraton returns the favor of saving his support's life.
And because Freeze had used the ace in the hole earlier, he wasn't able to use it when a kill was available. Now, even though Ultimate picked up Dragon, it has allowed NIP to group up in this mid lane, and with the minion wave not far behind, they may stick around to try force the tower.
Doesn't look like Alternate are going to allow it. They're going to defend and force them back. It's only J-Ree that went back here. Kraton's farming out those wolves. So, let's take stock of the situation. 7-4 in kills, still just 400 gold between these two teams. That is a dragon apiece, I believe, and may even be an Alternate that's got 2 dragons so far. It's 3-2 in turrets. That inner top turret, I'd like to take a look at that and see how much damage that Bjergsen actually got on towards it. We didn't quite get a glimpse because he was pulling a lot of damage down. He took it below half health, so Bjergsen's done some good work in that top lane.
At this point in time, it's up to Alternate now to start grouping up and trying to use their superior utility and team fights to prolong team fights and focus targets down. However, the most important thing about a fight for Alternate is to keep Creatine alive. If Creatine goes down at any point, their main source of damage is finished. Even though Ferenalord's got his Zhonya's Hourglass up, it's not quite Shockwave insta-kill all of NIP potential just yet.
Just yet, that is the question. With the Zhonya's Hourglass on Ferenalord, that's going to discount Bjergsen's ultimates, and that's going to work out well. With J-Ree, that's going to discount his ultimate as well. So actually coming to a team fight, they could control Bjergsen, but Bjergsen doesn't want to be in that team fight.
Yeah, and Bjergsen's focus isn't actually going to be Curb or Ferenalord. He really wants to remove Creatine from the map. It's Creatine that is the real consistent damage over time threat that they're worried about. So we'll have to see how easily you can get in there, as Bjergsen is almost going to get caught out. Araneo realizes he can't take on somebody who's 4 levels above him.
No, charging up his fists and thought, this is probably just going to bounce off him, honestly. But look at that turret. That's what I was talking about. The damage that Bjergsen's done there. He's been working away on this one, and that's actually buying NIP time. Look at the mid lane now. You can see there's only 2 members of Alternate here. They're going to have to give up on this one. Kraton is going to come back in. They're holding on for as long as they can.
Now, Alternate are doing a little bit better at dealing with the composition. Areneo's caught.
Death mark in there, but Assault and Battery works wonders, and that actually on the tower, Bjergsen took more damage than Araneo.
Yeah, and now that you see Ferenalord coming up, he's forced to back away, but since Ferenalord got pulled backwards, they're going to put damage in the mid lane and maybe get this tower now.
Surprise party, Fiddlesticks. Not really a surprise, that's for sure, but they expected J-Ree to be coming out of that bush. Ferenalord got around there. This turret is holding, though. It is standing. It's like Zulu in the middle.
Now, what Alternate are currently doing is answering the composition of NIP. They're saying stack when they need to, and they're leaving the champions that can deal with Bjergsen as and where applicable. They were unable to do this against SK Gaming, whose teamfight team shut them down. So Alternate definitely showing signs of improvement. However, the moment Kerp shows his face, this may be the go signal. He does have teleport available, so keep your eyes on Maluno. He does have Cataclysm up.
They're going to have to either force something in the mid lane or defend, like you say, that top turret. We see Aranea and Ferenalord going up there. I tell you, this is brave, brave stuff. Kraton and J-Ree feel they can hold out this middle turret against a 4-man NIP. This time they are backing away. That middle turret is going to go down.
No minions.
Or is it? Because Alternate are still holding on.
There's no minions there, and with the Blade of the Rune King plus that BF sword, Creatine is destroying the minion waves basically before they get to the tower, and it's so important. Assault and Battery is going to be up in 10 seconds for Aranea in the top lane, so he'll be able to defend that tower for a little bit longer.
The thing is, we talked about how much of a level advantage he has over an Aranea, but look at Aranea, he's built as a tank. He is a tank, so he's happy to actually go toe-to-toe with Bjergsen as long as he's on that turret.
It's his job right now, and with those excessive force, auto attacks splashing damage under the back line of the minions, we can see Aranea is able to kill the minion wave. Teleport from Kerp.
He tries to bait him in, and he may well have worked here. Bjergsen forced in towards the bushes. Is he going to have enough to try and get that Living Shadow away? No, he gets slowed by Kerp. I don't think they're going to have enough. Kerp's going to be able to leash back onto him if he can land it. Meanwhile, the middle, Stranglethorn's on Ferenalord. He's forced away. They're trying to get the aggression down. Chain of Corruption on towards Freeze. Freeze takes the tower. It has to cleanse away. Mimer backing away from this one. Back to the top lane. Bjergsen has managed to escape. Got that second Living Shadow out despite getting leashed up by Kerp.
The most important thing about that, NIP lost a 4 versus 3 fight in the mid lane. Thanks to the Shockwave and the Chain of Corruption coming out of Creatine and Ferenalord respectively, they prevented NIP from not only taking the tower, but from securing any kills at all.
Wow, I feel Michael Kane is stood in that middle lane right now and giving out the orders, holding off the waves of Ninjas in Pyjamas, keeping them at bay. And look at the gold. bang on even. 7-4 in kills, that doesn't seem to matter. 3-2 in turrets, that doesn't seem to have an effect because this is holding ground. 24 minutes gone in this game. Remember, this is for a place in the playoffs. Both of these teams at 13 wins, 13 losses. Both of them tied for 5th place. Someone's going to move to 3rd, someone's going to move to 6th.
And then we have to have a look at the head-to-heads once that happens, because there's only 4 games left in the day after this one. See RNA getting a little bit of vision down. As you can see, Dragon's going to be respawning in 30 seconds, and it's something that RNA's done 2 or 3 times this game already. He takes some of those wards, gets some vision in and around the Dragon Pit, and sets it up for Alternate to contest. Right now, though, it's NIP with a vision advantage in that area of the map.
Kerp having to go back to the top lane, keep Bjergsen at bay. Is it buying Bjergsen time? Is he leveling up? You bet your boots he is. He's up to 17, still keeping that big advantage, but Dragon will be spawning, and the rest of Ninjas in Pyjamas, they want to fight for it, which has pulled Bjergsen's attention, going for the blue buff, and I think he's going to head down towards Dragon afterwards.
Yeah, at this point in time, Alternate could probably rush this one up and secure it. Grasping Roots does not catch on to J-Ree, so there's no follow-up, and unfortunately, this is a 4 versus 5 until Bjergsen's there. Alternate are aware of it as they ping them out.
They're trying to rush it down, but Ferelnor's been caught out. Hasn't used the shockwave yet. He's holding his nerve, and that's going to be Maluno. The shockwave only catching on Deficio. Stranglethorns, meanwhile, bounces up 3 members. J-Ree gets caught. That's the death mark onto Kratos. Bjergsen's going to try and get it. He finishes it. Picks up a double kill. Ferelnor gets in. It's a triple kill. Aranea is going to get taken down. Bjergsen gets a quadra. Quadra kill for Bjergsen. Comes in like Superman.
Absolute decimation from Bjergsen. He jumps in there, throws out a bajillion shadows, slashes through everybody, and because the Stranglethorns knocked up so many members of Alternate, there was no one to lock Bjergsen in place. He joined the fight late. There was no Crow Storm, and there was no J-Ree available because he died so early on.
And not only that, he's going to get the Dragon for his team. He's going to take the inner turret in the top lane as well. Bjergsen doing wonders, picking up Ninjas in Pyjamas, carrying the entire team on his young shoulders.
8 kills of his team's 11 right now. He's currently sitting on 2,500 gold as he starts to recall and build even more damage. Last Whisper completed, and we'll just have to see how quickly he can destroy people, because even with those Zhonya's hourglasses, it wasn't enough for Kerp and Ferelnor to stay alive.
They just couldn't time it right, and once Kratos, like you said, went down, that was their main damage source down. He wasn't protected enough, and there wasn't a lot of protection. We should talk about the shockwave. We mentioned it early on, how Ferelnor hasn't been catching the key situations. He uses on Mima. Not a great deal of damage coming out here. The fear from J-Ree is going to turn him around. They're going to have to throw a lot more at him, and Bjergsen is back once again. J-Ree just gets melted. Deficio steals the kill nevertheless, but it doesn't matter. We saw all the damage coming out. Zhonya's hourglass.
He's on the tower.
He's on the tower. Bjergsen's going to get caught. Doesn't matter. That's going to be the ghost of Mima using help. Kangat's gone towards Bjergsen. Kerp's going to get dropped. Zhonya's hourglass bait. Is it going to be enough in time? No.
Wow.
He gets himself another kill. Bjergsen is on fire.
He manages to get a kill and 2 assists, plus secure the tower for NIP. Freeze has been untouched during the course of that fight, and Ninjas in Pyjamas are now on the inner middle turret. We talked about the Ghost of Christmas Past from Mima's Omen of Death, and that is how they plan to use it in every team fight.
It is working perfectly. Ninjas in Pyjamas, it was an assault on the middlery. It was a battery from Alternate to keep them away, but it's Ninjas in Pyjamas that are now beating down the door. Chain of Corruption on Deficio. Stranglethorns used in full defensive formation. Ace in a hole landing on Kratos. They could turn this one back around. They have to be careful. The death time is still up on Bjergsen, so they feel safe right now.
Ferelnor and the rest of Alternate need to realize that NIP will jump on them at a moment's notice, and Ferelnor cannot look to use that shockwave just on a single target. Kerp wants Deficio.
Oh, he tries to dash in. Not quite enough damage on him, though, unfortunately. Teleported and with the home guard boots. A lot used to get that 1 kill, and it was only on a support.
Alternates are firing their abilities prematurely here. Shockwave in the mid lane for Mima. Teleport in the mid lane to try and kill a support Deficio. What was Alternate's plan afterwards? After they got Deficio, hey, let's challenge for Baron maybe? Against every single damage dealer of NIP? I'm not sure what they're doing in that situation, and it could just be nerves. It could just be pressure. This is Alternate on the cusp of going 0-4.
And you see that, J-Ree, well, he's biting his nails, he's wiping his forehead. The pressure almost certainly is on Alternate right now in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. 14-6 to Ninjas in Pyjamas. It was so tight. It was equal in gold, and Ninjas in Pyjamas have picked up this game and run with it. It is not a snowball, it is an avalanche right now.
Let's be honest, Bjergsen picked it up and threw it as hard as he bloody well could. Managed to just get so much momentum now for NIP. And with the pickup of the Quicksilver Sash, the fear is no longer going to be a problem. The silence is no longer be a problem once he throws himself into a team fight. And you know, once he does die, he's just going to come back with the Omen of Death and continue tearing through alternate. However, if he dies, there is nothing left for NIP to fall back on. So always remember that. Always remember, if Bjergsen goes down, what else are you going to do? He's got all their golds.
I am not so convinced right now. I think Freeze has now gotten to a point where actually he would do a lot of damage, because they've built so heavily with their Zhonyas, with the magic ability. They've actually, you look at Curb, you look at Lord, they are going to get melted by Freeze.
If Freeze is caught out, if there's no Deficio as a front line, it allows all of Alternate the mobility to run through the Jarvan and the Yorick and then get to Freeze. So the onus is going to be on the Cataclysm and Deficio to protect him and keep him safe. But I do feel that if there's no damage threat, burst threat from Bjergsen, that the movement and the damage from that Karma, Orianna, Varus combo should be enough to get to him, but we'll see how these fights pan out.
Well, Fortitude Pot being picked up by Bjergsen. He is very confident now. He is cleaving his way through. He's already done a lot of damage to this turret. You can see this is what he's done earlier on, all on his own. Freeze quite happy to tank it up while the rest of the ghosts take the hits. And that is another turret down. 6-3 in terms of turrets. All of the inner turrets are down. It's siege time for NIP.
I want to highlight one more flaw in the NIP composition. They are almost all physical damage based. And with the mass amount of armor they're building up, Aranea is so tanky right now. Randian's home is completed. They're going to jump on it.
They're going to jump towards him. That's actually, if they'd hold the nerve a little bit longer, they would have found a much juicier target. Doesn't matter. Cataclysm comes in. Jerry locked up. He's going to have to use his party, but it's too late. And that's going to be Maluno. They're getting locked in. Look at Bjergsen. He's in the back line. Kraton goes down. Lord, Ace in the hole ain't going to save you, son. You're going to go down. It's a double for Bjergsen. They are just trouncing through alternate.
There should be Baron for NIP or an inhibitor. The question is, what do they value more? They've lost their jungler, and Aranea is still up with smites available. And I was highlighting the fact that they're all physical damage. The moment alternate are able to survive some of that physical damage, that they get Thornmails up and more Frozen Hearts or Randuins, maybe. But the problem is, they're not going to survive long enough to get to that stage.
And honestly, it could have gone worse for alternate. Aranea but the fact that he didn't check that bush gave his whole team a false sense to say, oh, it's safe, we can all walk down here. And surprise came out NIP, and J-Ree's Fiddlesticks wasn't enough to turn things around. Deficio 2-0-10. We mentioned the Stranglethorns earlier, how that turned it around. Again, he placed it in perfect position there, buying time for Bjergsen to just run on through the team.
And remember that every time the NIP fights in these enclosed spaces, all of that splash damage from Bjergsen's perfect. He was stood right next to Lord and Creatine, and when he was using all of his abilities, it hit both of them at the same time. That's double the damage at the exact same cost. And that's exactly what NIP want to be doing. Alternate ideally want wide, open spaces to run around in, use the utility that their team offers, and chase and run in, run out. So every time you're in the jungle, NIP have a strong advantage.
And Bjergsen now at 11-3-2. Sort of the Divine picked up. Just wants to get those crits in a little bit more, just to make sure he really doesn't miss anything, miss those targets. And Ninjas in Pyjamas honestly have full control of the map. They can go where they please. It's like a 5-man Mundo team.
There is no one that can survive the damage he's putting out. Deathmark, then you follow up the Sword of Divine, and your critical hits get double damaged. That is scary. Aranea wants Bjergsen, he's going to dive.
No, thought about it.
He ran the other way.
Yeah,
I
would.
Dived away.
I'd be diving the hell out of there, that's for sure. It's buying Ninjas in Pyjamas time. They are starting to assault the bottom lane. Look at Deficio, look at Bjergsen. They're looking to try and find a pick off the side. Kraton would be a nice, juicy target if they could find him. Ace in the hole, just simply being burned out to use that cooldown, to keep the poke down, to keep the siege running on alternate. Every time they throw something out, they're not doing a great deal of damage on the turret. Curb trying his best to keep them at bay.
At this point in time, because of the fact that they've got Jarvan, they've got Omen of Death, and they've got Yorick, NIP could tower dive if they wanted to. However, they've got a Caitlyn on their side, so these sieges work in their favor, as Caitlyn should be able to get a couple of auto attacks down every time a minion wave walks up. Unfortunately, NIP are not playing that game right now. They're just looking for poke damage that they would like to then follow up with kills.
Yeah, you can see Bjergsen, he keeps peeking off at the side. Remember, there is a Baron on NIP here, so this siege is being defended fairly well from Alternate. If you remember, they held out in that mid lane for a very long time, so it's no surprise that they are keeping them at bay from the main inhibitor turrets right now. And now getting a little bit of a burst combo. Those plants continue to do work. They're not getting too many hits on the towers, though.
No, Freeze actually hasn't put himself in a position where he could get jumped on. You know, he's afraid of Assault and Battery coming in from an Aranea and delivering the Shockwave, but Bjergsen, he's picked the fight!
He's gone in, it's Grayaton that gets locked in, but that's a great Shockwave in support, but unfortunately, they are all stacked up, and Bjergsen says, thank you very much, this is my game, this is my house, and they clean it, and it's 22-8 right now. The kills don't matter, because Ninjas in Pyjamas have just massacred, executed, nigh on destroyed Alternate in their own base.
I have never in my life seen 5 people lose their HP bars that quickly, and that was Bjergsen that did that. Bjergsen seen an opportunity, chased them, funneled them into the wall of the inhibitor, and NIP said, you shall not pass go. This is a victory for NIP, and what a convincing win. 0-4 for Alternate.
0-4 for Alternate. Would you believe it? The week 7 was when they were top. They went from week 1 to 7. 7 whole weeks of a 9-week season. They remain top of the league. They're now 0-4 in Super Week. Ninjas in Pyjamas on your screen right there. They are 2 for 2, and boy, did that win count. They are now joint 3rd place, joining Evil Geniuses and Fnatic. And now the pressure is very much on Alternate's shoulders. They have some serious thinking to do. Their final game of the day will be against Evil Geniuses, and it is only in 2 games' time.
During the course of that match, Bjergsen had double the attack damage dealt to Alternate than anyone in Alternate had done dealt to members of NIP. Such a convincing victory, and I was worried about the composition at the start until I seen them using it. It was Bjergsen all the way, split pushing until he was strong enough to win every single team fight. But you cannot discount how impactful Deficio's Stranglethorns were in every single one of the fights. Well, in all 3 of the fights. It was a Stranglethorns that allowed NIP to just shred through Alternates.
I can tell you one thing. Bjergsen's not going to be getting Zed played aloud through
End of
bans
story.
again.
End of story. Not a chance. And who do they play later today? My brain has just got shredded.
SK.
SK Gaming. Ocelot likes to play Zed as well. Now, NIP have first pick in that matchup. So, if Ocelot's banning Zed, what is he thinking to play as well? This is awesome.
This is indeed awesome. That's why it is called Super Week, because it is goddamn exciting
You could
stuff.
say it's super.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far, because that word is one of my... I hate that word. I hate super. I absolutely detest that word. Nevertheless, 4 games remain of Super Week here. Of the 20 that we've had so far, it is still all to play for. But Ninjas in Pyjamas have put themselves in a very good position. And Alternate are now joint 6th with SK Gaming. I cannot believe I am saying that after DreamHack starts, after Moscow, after what they saw in Tenerife. Alternate have absolutely let it slip away. And they are one of the most jovial teams. We saw them with their boot camp. It seemed to be brilliant for them. Everything seemed to be in their way, and yet they've actually played great this Super Week, but a 0-4.
Unfortunately, everybody else is just stepping up when they need to as well. And we've got this like super in-depth Excel sheet that we're currently working through. There were 64 options at the beginning of the day. It went down to 32 after game 1. We're now at 16 different variables, excluding all of the tiebreakers and things like that. But we're currently working our way down to that final top 8. And hopefully a couple tiebreakers.
We'll get to those standings in a few moments, guys. Don't worry. But first, we want to go over to Joe and Jason to take us through the execution of Alternate.
Thanks a lot, guys. And, well, the execution of Alternate's probably right there.
Yeah, I mean, I look at my notes right now, and every single line of what I've written down says Bjergsen, so that kind of gives you an idea of what happened in that game.
Yeah, I mean, that whole quadra kill thing was just absolutely ridiculous. I'd love to show you that again, but fortunately can't. But, you know, it was all about Bjergsen. First blood, that amazing turnaround that he pulled in there obviously got things started.
Yeah.
And it just didn't stop. That was the problem.
Yeah, actually, I talked to NFP last night, and I was curious, like, what are they going to do this game? They haven't looked too good this whole weekend, and Ficio was telling me, like, we're going to camp middle, and we're going to camp bottom. We're going to let Mimer sit up there. We want to get Bjergsen rolling. And that's exactly what they did. They got him on his Zed, which he's done so many times, so many outplays on it, and just killed middle as much as possible. And then when he had the ability to just roam top lane, just sit there, and you saw Alternate, they tried to respawn. They sent up multiple people trying to kill him, and yet they couldn't make that happen. And his damage in fights, like that fight at Dragon where he did get the quadra kill, you just saw everyone on the team just get shredded down because they're all grouped up for his abilities. And as people keep saying, Bjergsen, he's kind of proven right there that he is one of the best mid laners in Europe, easily.
It's not the first time that we've really seen him do that well on Zed either as well, which kind of surprised me that went through. Just one last topic there as well. We heard Trevor talk about Yorick and how we usually see him with the hyper carry as well. Bjergsen made himself that hyper carry there to the end, and, you know, you've got to kill him twice.
Yeah, and the thing is, you usually associate Yorick's ultimate with an AD carry, but you don't really need to do that. I mean, like, any champion that can cast spells, you know, consistently, like Karthus, he's amazing for a Yorick ultimate, because then he can die, get in a better position, die again perfectly right there kind of thing. But yeah, so when you saw Bjergsen go in, he would just get ulted when he was close to death, and yeah, you kill him once, but can you kill him twice? And Ultimate didn't have the health bars, the defense, the attack to really do that.
Well, solid win for Ninjas in Pyjamas. We're going to head over to Shox, who sat with the man himself, Bjergsen.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bjergsen. What a game for you. I don't want to say single-handedly carrying your team to victory, but it was a very impressive performance for you. So tell me, coming into this one, you guys, both Alternate and NIP, you needed this win so much. Tell me about the last moments before the game. How was the atmosphere of the team? What were you talking about?
We were pretty much just preparing. We were all really ready for this match. We felt like this match was ours, and everyone came in with the mindset that if we played our game, we could win this game, and that's what it ended up with, us winning. And ever since yesterday's game against Fnatic, we were all just thinking about this game, preparing for this game, thinking out every single possibility that they could do, that we could do, and we were really ready for this match.
Yeah, you say you thought that this game was yours, and you've also said in the clip before, I think it was the Ficio, the thing about Alternate is they can have they can be really predictable in their picks.
Yeah.
And is that also what you encountered when you went through picks and bans?
Yeah, I felt really confident first picking Zed, because most of Relinord's champion pool don't really counter Zed, unless he had picked up something new, but I still felt like if he picked something new up that could be good against it, I could still handle it. So I felt really comfortable first picking this Zed, because we have a good idea of what they play in every single role, and they actually picked the exact mid jungle and top as we expected, and also support. So on that regard, we did really good expecting their picks.
Tell me a little more about that Relinord matchup against you. Do you feel like you have an easier time beating him this time around because you know what is in his champion pool and you kind of work around it every time, or?
It's not really about working around it, but I was highly expecting a Zed ban, because Zed is pretty good against most of his champion pool, so I definitely expected a Zed ban, and I was really surprised, and I just told my team, just first pick it. Like, my team was like, you sure? And I'm like, just first pick it. Because I just felt pretty confident against his picks. I was kind of afraid he was going to pull out maybe a Kale or something, but yet again, I would still just adapt and play safe.
All right, and then tell me about going into the game with your comp with Yorick. Was that to help you being able to split push better, or what was the plan?
It's actually to team fight better, because Zed doesn't really do that well in team fights if they all just focus him. But if you have Yorick reviving him, then they're going to have to kill him twice. And if Zed is farmed from split pushing or from getting kills, then they have to kill him twice, and then you pretty much can't do anything in team fights. It's really simple. The Yorick just ults the Zed every time. There's pretty much like no thinking. Usually Yorick really has to think about who to ult and when to ult, but when I jump in, he just has to ult me, and he did that every time. It pretty much won us every team fight.
Yeah, and you snowballed really hard, and this was a very convincing win for an IP, and it kind of makes me wonder, what about those other performances lately that haven't been that good? Is it because you're now down and out? Is this where you thrive? Just to know, we just have to do it, and we will do it.
I don't know. We've had some ups and downs, both in practice and in LCS, and I feel like I myself could definitely play way better, and we could definitely play way better as a team. Every single week we learn. We're like, why didn't we do this last week? This is exactly what we needed to not lose that game or something like that. I feel like we're always learning, and we can just continue to learn, and we'll constantly get better.
Okay, so maybe if you learn a little more, you'll get a pentakill on Zed next time.
Hopefully.
Maybe. Thank you very much, Bjergsen. All right, we're going to take a breather, but we'll be back with Meet Your Makers versus Lemon Dogs in 6 minion waves.